Okay, so we continue with our review. We are talking about algebra, and the next topic is quadratic equations. So let's have a quick review on how should we solve quadratic equations. Remember that quadratic equations are those equations that has x to the power of 2. Okay, so let's just work with a simple example. Let's say that we have the equation x squared minus 11x plus 28 equal to 0. Okay? Now, for us to be able to solve quadratic equations, as I'm going to show you right now, we always need to comply with two specific conditions. The first condition is that the equation must be equal to 0. And the second important condition is that the coefficient, and the coefficient is that number that goes along the variable, so the coefficient of x squared must be equal to 1. So remember that the coefficient, for example, here the coefficient of x squared is, there's nothing, so that means that is 1. The coefficient of x is negative 11. That's what I'm talking about. This number with the x squared must be 1. There should be nothing there, basically. Okay? Once we meet these two conditions, we can start solving the equation as I'm going to show you right now. So this example that I show you right here, well, it meets both conditions, right? The equation is equal to 0, checked. The coefficient of x squared is 1, checked. So I solve these quadratic equations by factorization. What do I mean? First step, I open a parenthesis, two parentheses here. This will be equal to 0. Now, because I have two, like x squared, so basically I send one x here and the other x here. Now pay attention to the signs, okay? Pay attention to the signs. The sign in the first parenthesis is negative. How do I know that this sign is negative? Because you just take the first sign here, the one that you see here, and you just put it right here on the first parenthesis. Now, the sign of the second parenthesis is going to be also negative. How do I know that it's going to be again negative? Because to find, or for you to define better the sign that goes in the second parenthesis, you take this sign, negative, times this second sign, times positive. So minus times plus is minus. And the result of the multiplication, there you are, is the sign that you put right here. Okay? So again, x and x, the sign on the first parenthesis is the first sign that you see in the polynomial. The sign in the second parenthesis is what? You multiply these two signs, and the result of that multiplication is the sign of the second parenthesis. All right? I hope that is clear. Now, after having defined, let me draw this thing below. After having defined the signs, what we need to do is we need to find two numbers. Now, which two numbers? In this case, let me write it down here again. So at this point, what we need to do is find two numbers. Which ones? That multiplied equals the number without the x, okay? Equals the number with no x, okay? In this case, 28. And those two numbers, the same two numbers, also must comply with the condition that when they are added, this will be equal to the number that is with the x, so the one in the middle. So in this specific case, find two numbers that when multiplied give me the number with no x. So basically, this 28. When I multiply them, I need the multiplication of the two numbers must give me 28. And when I add them, the addition must be equal to the number with the x. In this case, that is, again, don't forget about the signs, it's negative 11. So let's think of those two numbers that when I multiply them gives me positive 28, and when I add them gives me 11. I think that is 7 and 4, okay? Let's confirm. Negative 7 times negative 4 is positive 28, yeah, that's true. Negative 7 plus minus 4 is negative 7 minus 4 is negative 11. So these are the two numbers, okay? Another asterisk, another important thing for us to remember. Whenever you find those two numbers, okay, the greatest of the both, like the one with the greater value, goes in the first parenthesis, always, okay? Parenthesis. Always when we find the numbers, that in this case was 7 and 4, the 7, that is the greater value, goes in the first parenthesis. Always. That is a convention, and later on, doing some exercises, you will see why this will be important, okay? Now, we found our two numbers. That multiply give me 28, that added give me negative 11. So when we get to this point, what we are saying is that x can take two values. What we're saying is that x can either be, check it out here, 7 or 4. Check out the values of x. It's this same number that you have inside the parenthesis, but with the opposite sign, right? This was x minus 7, so the value of x is 7. In the second parenthesis, it was x minus 4, so the value was positive 4, okay? Those are the values of x. And just for us to keep getting some new terminology, these values of x, okay, these two values is what you are going to call the solutions of the equation, or you can also call them the roots of the equation, or eventually the zeros of the equation, okay? So if at any given exercise that you're trying to solve, you have a quadratic equation, or for that matter, any equation, and you find the solution, or they ask you to find the roots of the equation or the zeros of the equation, basically what they're asking for you is to find the values of x, okay? Because there is a quadratic equation, we will have two values, all right? And this is the process. Try to review it, be clear on how you find it. We're gonna have another example just to double check and for go again through the whole process, okay? This other example. Let's say that the equation, okay, let's divide it here. Let's say that the equation, that one I wrote it down here because I just want to guarantee that it's something that works. Let's say that you're giving with the equation 2x is equal to negative 16, 2x squared is equal to negative 16x minus 30, okay? That's the equation, and we need to solve this equation. It's a quadratic equation because we have x squared. So let's start meeting the conditions. First condition, remember, the equation must be equal to 0, right? So let's do that. Let's rewrite this. I will have 2x squared. This goes to the other side to add. This will be 16x. This is negative, goes to add again, 30. And this will be equal to 0. So this condition, checked. Next condition, the coefficient of x squared must be 1. In this case, check it out that the coefficient is 2. How can we solve that? Well, because we need to get rid of the 2, what we will do is we'll divide everything by 2. This divided by 2, this guy divided by 2, and this guy divided by 2. All right? When we do that, what is what we end up having? This guy cancels out, and we have x squared. 16 divided by 2 normally is 8, so you have 8x. 30 divided by 2 is normally 15. You get 15, and this is equal to 0. Check out the equation that we have now. The equation is equal to 0? Yes. The coefficient of x squared is 1? Yes. So we already comply with the two conditions. Now we are ready to solve it as we just said. So let's rewrite the equation right here. I have x squared plus 8x plus 15 equal to 0. Again, first step, parentheses here, parentheses here, equals to 0. Then x's, one x here, another x here. Next step, the signs. Remember, the sign on the first parenthesis is this first sign that I have in the polynomial, so this is going to be plus. And the sign in the second parenthesis, I take these two signs, plus times plus is plus, so this will be also plus. Okay? Two numbers, in this case. Find two numbers that multiply, give you the number with no x. In this case, the multiplication must give me 15. And two numbers that when I add them, need to give me the value, the number with the x. In this case, 8. So two numbers that when I multiply them, give me 15. And when I add them, give me 8. I can think quickly that the numbers should be 5 and 3. Again, the greater value goes in the first parenthesis, so it will go here, 5, and here will be 3. Let's confirm. 5 times 3, 15? Yes. And the addition, 5 plus 3 is 8. Check, so I comply, and that's it. Here what we're saying is that the solutions or the roots or the zeros of the equation are negative 5, right? And
here's a
are negative 5 and negative 3. Okay? Remember that the values are this same number that we have here, but with the opposite sign. This is how you solve quadratic equations. I hope that is clear. Please revise the video as many times as you need it to be super clear. Stop the video, make the sense of it. And again, if you want to practice that, I will say that is a good idea. Find an algebra or Google for quadratic exercises so you get to practice this method. All right? I hope that is clear. Any questions, as always, that you may have on this topic, please email me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. See you on our next video.